Mr. Solanki, President, SME Chamber of India. Privileged to be integral part of this International SME Day and distinguished guests, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. We've achieved extraordinary set of transformation has happened prior to the actual conference. I had an informal chat with Mr. Solanki. He was asking about the global growth, which is absolutely in contraction. Yesterday, IMF has revised downward. The global growth is going to be minus 4.9%. Advanced economies are developing economies, doesn't matter. The world at large is going through an extraordinary set of great recession that is totally impact in terms of business disruption. The entire efforts has been focused now through public-private partnership in making sure we move from disaster recovery to business continuity. Distinctly, countries in the world has taken fiscal and monetary measurements to see, especially in terms of global momentum, not less than 10% of the GDP towards supporting the liquidity. We don't want a situation, liquidity crisis, move into a funding crisis, funding moving to a solvency and sovereign issue. That's precisely the approach global economies are engaged in. The first wave itself has got an extraordinary set of impact in terms of economic sustenance, social sustenance, environmental sustenance. Here comes the opportunity for small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. The reason is obvious. This defied all logic, whether big or small, caste or creed or race or religion. Territorial borders have been broken. Now we have a total access to the market. What is important is to recognize, say for example, if it is India or Japan, we have to internationalize their business model. That's the need of the hub. It is an uncharted single citizenship, single market. That's a conception we are evolving in terms of sustainability in global norms. So whether it's a food security or healthcare or education or even building green economies, we are going to have digital governance and we are going to have one single market. You need a commercial gateway in global terms. That is a priority. You have to redefine the business model. So, for example, if you take India, India itself is going through an extraordinary set of turbulence. Now we have over 110 million people are engaged in SME. 35% of the GDP comes from SME. And you have 64 million units are operating under SME. And nearly 50% of the rural population is engaged in SME. In substantive terms, even the financial economies have invested more on bringing liquidity to small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. So your choice is to recognize you need access to technology. You need definitely access to finance. That's the major fuel to the engine. And again, you need a global market access. That is very, very important for you to perceive and redefine and restructure your business model. So let us transform your business model. If you transform your business model, then you have sustainability in place. India has to go through extraordinary set of forward-looking dynamics in the current context. We have seen India is going to be contracted not less than 4.5%. Japan is 5.8%. I operate in 20 odd countries and tracking the entire global momentum. Japanese, Koreans, Singaporeans, Chinese, Indians, and again, across the globe in terms of Middle East or Europe, and again, North America. When I look at the bigger picture now, SMEs have got a distinct advantage in recognizing a global act, creating a global gateway. And here I see an opportunity in terms of commercial gate in the Gulf states. Gulf states, they have to look at trade or investments, banking or finance in essentially converging with the business model. Why? We have free economic zones. I'm supporting all sorts of companies. Japanese companies are here. Korean companies, I'm supporting them. And again, it's an open market. India itself, I have 3 branches which I'm supporting. I signed with the SME Chamber 10 years before. Many of the Indian companies, whether Chennai or Kerala or Mumbai, have relationship. Thousands of companies are going on. Now you have free economic zone. For example, one country I will tell you, we have entire Gulf is open in terms of free economics. Now, sustainable economics, if you want, I can show Qatar as a solid example today. It is in terms of economic zone, it is you have 100% capital ownership is possible. Free zones are designated. You don't have personal income tax. You have cost-effective, labor. you can import. Proximity and human capital investments is possible. And again, there is no taxation. It's a simple tax of 10%. That's it, flat rate. When it comes to cost of capital, funding comes in two forms. One is when it comes to seed capital. If you have know-how, even without a commercial model, you can come here, share the knowledge, the prototype, and ensure you get seed capital from development banks. Most of the Gulf states have got, especially Qatar has got. Qatar Development Bank is engaged in financing seed capital as well as mezzanine finance. When it comes to debt, equity apart, when it comes to debt, all the commercial banks, substantial portion of their lending, billions, I have given. Even if I take Doha Bank as a classic example, all sort of companies world over are aggregating to set up in the free zones and set up infrastructure. If you have an existing business, float a subsidiary here, you can have 100% ownership. If you want an investment partnership or joint venture, we can enable you. If it is a debt, then it's cost effective, as I said, and all the commercial banks with the joint risk participation with the development bank, Qatar Development Bank in this case, has got substantial cost effective funding. That's partially guaranteed. Nearly 87% of the debt which I am financing for small and medium-sized entrepreneurship is guaranteed. That's why I call upon all the global companies, small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. This is the time, make or break. This is the time you cease to exist if you don't globalize in substance. This is the time you need globally competitive. If countries are going to be downgraded in terms of ratings, that's what the case, including India. We have seen the reflection cost of funding is going to be higher. If your cost of funding is higher, financing charge is higher, your manufacturing cost is higher, and you are not globally competitive. So you need a space where cost-effective funding is required. Cost of capital becomes cheaper, and you need to have an open infrastructure for you to export. And that's what the opportunities we have. Here is a country with nearly $200 billion GDP, a sustainable economics in terms of economic fundamentals. You have twice the GDP as reserves, given a definite expansion in terms of overall hydrocarbon as well as non-hydrocarbon. And you have economic zones, free zones, tax-effective formulas available for profitability. And you have reasons to believe the commercial gates are open. You have strong infrastructure in terms of airport or seaport. And you have to necessarily make sure incubation is rightly initiated in this part of the world. The reason why I'm saying this, over the last 20 years, ever since I have the privilege of running these institutions, I've got thousands and thousands of SMEs, and we have connected with multiple partnership and collaborative models that has proven success, and still I continue to learn. Even during this COVID-19 situation here, the country has allocated nearly 3 billion Qatar riyals, that is nearly $800 million for supporting the small and medium-sized entrepreneurship. Wage protection is given, rental is protected, and again, your customs duties are waived, and you have deferment of the financing charges. Debt, you can defer it nearly for minimum 1 year, and the cost of funding is not more than 1.5%. And first year, it's free. So that's the kind of cost efficiency you will be achieving it. So I want to give you an opportunity for you to recognize you can redefine the model, you can do the remedial management, whatever the crisis you are going through, and you can restructure your existing debt and equity, and you can build a partnership, and you can make sure you can rationalize it and enhance your revenue by taking the global partnership. This is what exactly I would like to offer you in a plate. This is exactly I am a global banker, and we have our own spread. Whether it's Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Kuwait or India or in Qatar, if you have the business, or if you're Japanese companies to Chinese companies to a Canadian company, we can support. And that's what the business model over the years we can see. And together we can build this partnership to make sure we are here to make sure your sustainable journey is your success, is our success. That's the kind of reassurance I want to give to the small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. That's the backbone. Today, economic revival in total terms is contingent on the important part of the economic momentum is going to be through medium and small-sized entrepreneurs. And every country is looking at sustainable economics. And that's the partnership. That's the backbone where job momentum can be created and cost effectiveness can come in. You can add value to your growth and productivity. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your kind attention.
Dr. Seetharaman, according to your knowledge and your connections in the Gulf countries, what is the developments happening in a particular industry in Saudi? Because I come to know that a lot of the Indian migrant labor from the Gulf countries have come back. What is the situation currently in the manufacturing industry or businesses or the supply chain management, supply chain in Gulf countries?
See, in terms of Gulf economics, if you look at it, the oil price is volatile plus disruption to the global economy. The oil LNG or hydrocarbon consumptions have reduced. Many countries have not lifted the energy on account of requirements. Resources required was limited. So there is a temporary dislocation in terms of expatriate labor force. Migrant laborers have been sent in some countries. But if you look at the bigger picture, these are commodity-driven economies, and the local resources are limited. Take for Qatar, for example, we have 2.8 million population, out of which nearly 25% Indians. So the skilled or unskilled, white collars or blue collars, you need a definite engagement of expatriate force. So continuing, the proximity and human capital investments, India is a very reliable partner for the entire Gulf states. We have over 700 million people already there. These economies are now diversifying and non-hydrocarbon. And that's where the opportunity I count. I mean, that's where you can bring in SMEs, set up the free zones, because they have realized they have to diversify from oil and gas to non-hydrocarbon. So we have a free port, you have airport is well knitted, and you have free zones. And for the reasons which I mentioned, it's cost effective to do a business here and take this as a gateway. So that's where I think more and more SMEs across India or rest of the world can explore those possibilities. Because the foreign exchange restrictions, export is free in tandem, and you have value advantage in commissioning your model and start the global connection from here. So what you're seeing is a temporary dislocations can be offset through realignment of your business model.
Dr. Seetharaman, while operating your bank in India, what is the observation by your team, particularly for the companies that are approaching for the finance or funding, especially from the medium-sized industries, small-sized industries? They are all the banks are saying that they are lacking in information, they're lacking in compliances, they're lacking in a lot of things. So, what is your observation as a global bank, or while operating in India, while supporting by fueling the finance, particularly SME sector?
Yeah, it has been very good turnout. We have been operating now 3 branches, one in Mumbai since 2015, and again 16 was Kerala, Cochin, and Chennai last 2-3 years. Our experience is good, and even the non-performing book is less than 1%. So clearly, we don't have a problem in dealing with MSMEs. And we insist on certain discipline which are global, whether it's accounting or legal or financial bookkeeping. We ensure that there is a discipline and we have standard parameters and universal norms we follow. We customize to local requirements. It's been a good experience, and more we are seeing bilateral trade happening, bilateral collaboration happening between the Gulf states where we have major engagements and India. Over the period of time, more and more small and medium-sized companies are coming here, setting up. Similarly, investment partnership we floated, joint ventures we have floated in India with the locals from here or from the region. It has been a good turnout. It's a pleasure to be international. I was suggesting that the proximity and human capital investment India has made in the Gulf states, and also in addition to the opportunities available for the Gulf state free economic zone, again, the tax systems are very simple. Cost of capital is cheaper from India. So Gulf is a place where we need more bilateral opportunities we can see through. So we want you to encourage the small and medium-sized entrepreneurs who are struggling on account of this current crisis, plus use the Gulf space. And we have, over the period 2-3 decades, we have seen more and more the commercial gates are open through Gulf states. India, we have our branches. We want to ask you what sort of incentives for internationalization you're going to offer so that these SMEs will enter their global exports, they will come and their own subsidiaries or investment partnership in the Gulf states.